Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be diving in to kind of the analytics and percentages of how exactly Dragon 20 works and kind of charting a bunch of runs that I did. So I'm going to go over that. Alrighty, let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, I guess real quick, I'll show you a Dragon run or two and kind of walk you through the dungeon really quick. The Dragon is probably the best dungeon to grind for like the end game, and even like the mid game. It's probably overall the best dungeon to grind because it's got three really good viable sets with accuracy, speed, and lifesteal. Speed and lifesteal are probably the two big ones. That's the ones you're really looking for. They're very generally useful in a bunch of different areas of the game. Then after that, Frost can be okay. That would be like your fourth place, and then after that would be Stalwart would be like fifth, and then maybe Toxic or Daze or Avenging. They kind of all fall in after that. You're basically farming the Dragon for the top three: the accuracy, speed, and lifesteal. So yeah, that covers that, and then I'll show you kind of what I do here in my Dragon 20 team. The Dragon 20 is really kind of a DPS race. It's one of the easier dungeons to speed farm. You know, obviously there's ways you can do like the spider in like 20 seconds and do it faster than the Dragon. But like the Fire Knight and the Ice Golem can be really tough to get like speed farm teams. So the Dragon is pretty decent in that regard in terms of the end game being able to speed farm it. So here is my run with double Royal Guard, which I did a video on, and you know, my Dracomorph as a debuffer poisoner, and my Zavia as a detonator, and then my Kymar as a cooldown resetter. That was bad RNG there. Typically I get to the boss in 17 or 18 seconds, but depending on how the damages roll and how the RNG goes, sometimes it can take like 21, 22 seconds. This one will be pretty bad here, taking like 24. So this one will probably be pretty close to a minute. I think my best runs are about 35 seconds, and my average is about 45, so we'll see how this one lines up here. There we go. We get the RGs, and then we'll get a Zavia detonation on our next turn maybe, and we'll blow it up. There it is, and boom. So yeah, 50 seconds. That was pretty bad RNG, and we can see here that I got the and I'll show you kind of how I chart this. So I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller here. Alrighty, so what I do is after each run, wait, something popped up here. Let me minimize that. Okay, so yeah, after each run, what I do is I chart the artifacts. So tops and bottoms. Tops is going to be your weapon, helm, and shield. Bottoms is going to be your gloves, chest armor, and boots. I wanted to see if there was a discrepancy in terms of which items drop, because obviously the ones on top roll the same main stat every time. The ones on the bottom have different main stats. So I wanted to see if the game differentiates in terms of how often those two different types of items drop, and surprisingly I did find that there is a difference. I'll go over all of that here in a second, but yeah, so this is a 5-star rare bottom because it's a chest armor. So 5-star rare bottom, I put in 63, and boom, all of the numbers automatically update. And I will have a link to this spreadsheet. I couldn't think of the word. I'll have a link to the spreadsheet down in the video description. Obviously I can't give access to mine, but if you go to file and I think make a copy or download to your account or whatever, I think you can get the template so that you can use this on your own, and you can edit it in any way that you want, and be able to kind of, you know, do this stuff if you're curious. So that's kind of how I do it at the end of each run, and then after that I look at it and see if it's something I want to keep. Typically, you know, obviously you're looking for, you know, I'm looking for like epics or like 6-star rares if they're really good. We typically want ones with speed as a substat is kind of one of the main things you're looking for. That's one that I wouldn't keep, so I would click sell, replay, and then I would chart the next run. So that is that, and let's go over the sheet here and kind of talk about what I was able to find on this study. Okay, so we'll see here that the seconds up here, I'm putting how long the run takes. So typically my average run is like 44, 45 seconds, and then a few seconds of downtime as the next stage loads. So I put 50 seconds per run, and then I have it set to automatically calculate the hours here at 4.13. Alrighty, I got a phone call, so I'm kind of resuming recording here. But I believe I was talking about the hours. So yeah, this calculates based off of the runs taking 50 seconds a pop when you include all the loading time and stuff. This is about how long you can expect to spend this amount of energy. I have this automatically set to calculate. And then I have the silver gain. I estimate that your average artifact sale plus the reward of the dungeon adds up to about 42,000 on average. It might be a little bit less, a little bit more, and then this just kind of gives me an idea of how much silver I've gained in terms of artifacts I'm selling and the reward from the dungeon. And I actually lower it a little bit because obviously you're not going to sell every artifact. So I do lower it a little bit, and that's what I'll like actually gain. And then the grind cost, I have this set to kind of calculate how much money it would kind of cost in terms of energy spent and all of that. So yeah, diving into the actual list itself, it's fairly simple to use. If you download it and you're using it as like a template, all you got to do is, you know, say a 5-star legendary drops, you just change this from 10 to 11, boom, everything automatically updates. So let me put that back to what it was. Yeah, so like the most interesting thing that I found in this is that I think this is a large enough sample size to conclude that top items drop more often than bottom items. And it looks like it's going to be a 55-45 split, because basically the whole time it was a 55-45 split. Ever since I had a sample size of like 20 all the way up to 300, it's been a 55-45 split. It's been very consistent. It was never like 60-40. It was never 50-50. It was always like right at 55-45. So I can pretty accurately say that items on the top are more common than items on the bottom. And just from my arbitrary feeling from playing, I thought that was true, because I know I see like, you know, the items on the bottom a little bit less than I see the ones on the top, just from all my hours of playing. So that was definitely interesting to get confirmation on that. Another thing, people have had a tinfoil hat theory that the good sets like speed and lifesteal drop less often than the trash sets like days and avenging and those ones. You know, destroy is probably the worst one, and then down here I do have it keep track. I write down each time what set it was, so we can actually get confirmation on that. I've got the good sets in green at 26% of the time. I've got the bad sets in red at 73% of the time, but I've got more sets in red, so you have to look at the individual numbers. And we do see that we got 41 pieces of destroy, which I would say is the worst set, and we got 27 pieces of speed, which is what I would say is the best set. So now the interesting thing is they might consider toxic a premium set, because that one's only 30, and we can see all of our other ones are averaging about 37 or 38, and toxic is only 30, so it's just a little bit more than speed. So it may be that they have 4 sets listed as premium: accuracy, speed, lifesteal, and toxic, and those ones drop a little bit less than the other ones, because we can see here, you know, 41, 39, 37, 37, and then just by coincidence, accuracy, speed, and lifesteal are all significantly less at, you know, 26, 27, and 25. So I think we can pretty much confirm that tinfoil hat theory that the good sets do drop less than the bad sets. Obviously, I would need a sample size of like 1,000 to know for sure, but 300 runs is a pretty good sample size. I'll keep filling this out and fleshing out this this sheet as I do more runs, but I wanted to get a video out you know, about this, as I did enough runs where I thought I could get some data. In terms of star distribution, it looks like it's a 70-30 split. You know, I'm sure they're plugging these numbers into a system in terms of distribution, and it looks like they're plugging in 55-45 for tops versus bottoms. They're plugging in 70-30 for 5-star versus 6-star. And then for rarity distribution, it comes out to about 60-30 and 10. So my legendaries were sticking at about, you know, 10 or 11%. And then I went through a bad stretch and it dropped to 8.75. So I think the rarity distribution is 60% rare, 30% epic, and 10% legendary. So yeah, the numbers definitely seem to jive in terms of the kind of, you know, how the spreadsheet came out, and seems to be pretty accurate and lining up with those nice round numbers in terms of what they would have put in for a distribution. So yeah, that kind of covers that, and I will have a link down in the description where you can kind of pull that sheet up, take a look at it, download it, customize it, and all of that. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. Always enjoy hearing your input, and as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.